What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome on into our MLB show of the week, aka really the show of the day, because we got every single Thursday MLB game on the slate for you guys here. I'm your host, Riggs Tamburo, with the Sports Forum at Sports Forum CO on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever you want to find us there, YouTube at The Sports Forum. Click that subscribe button for us, and you can also find us on the 12-ounce Sports Network, Roku TV, Fire TV, and they have a YouTube channel as well at 12-ounce Sports. Give them a subscribe there as well. But once again, guys, we're going to cover every single MLB game on the board, 6 games going down on the Thursday slate. We're also going to really briefly go over the standings for the MLB because that does come into play with some of the bets as well. You need to know who's playing well right now, who's not playing well right now, who needs to pick it up, who's riding hot streaks, whatever it might be. So with all of that said, as you see here, start with the American League East. The Blue Jays right now are on top, not the Yankees, not the Orioles, who were down there in very last place. A lot of people thought the Orioles were going to give the Yankees a run for their money this year. They lost a couple bats in the offseason, and just like that, and a pitching arm, and all of a sudden they're at the bottom of the division here. Now, 5-8. They're not badly in last place, but they are in last place. Blue Jays playing well, Yankees playing well, and the Red Sox playing very well on the board there too. Now, when you move on through here, you got the American League Central, the Tigers 7-5 right now, Royals 6-6. The Royals are dangerous at home right now. They're 5-4 overall at home, but they look really good, especially the last few games. Away, 1-2 at the moment, 5-5 over their last 10. Guardians, they're playing okay. 5-6, a lot of divisions. They'd be in last place with a 5-6 record, so I'm not too impressed by that. Twins are struggling a bit, 4-8, and the White Sox, no shocker, are 2-9, have not won a game on the road there yet, but hey, looking for that one here today. Now, looking at the American League West, we got the Rangers, man, rolling on top here in this division. You got the Rangers at 9-4, 6-1 when playing at home. The Angels, also kind of the surprise of the division right now, above the Astros, above the Mariners, 7-4 for those guys. Shout out to my boy Jimmy, his Angels looking good. You better enjoy it while you can, man, because as a Steelers fan, I know what it feels like to be in a good position, and next thing you know, you're not in it no more. So with all that, guys, that is the American League. Now, hopping on over to the NL, we got the Phillies on top here in the East, 8-3 on the season. Mets right there with them, 8-4. Marlins at 6-6. Marlins actually playing some decent ball right now. I got to give them credit where credit's due, punching a nice 500. Nationals, they're the Nationals. And then the Braves, man, probably the laughingstock, biggest surprise of all MLB teams so far, 2-9 on the year. Look at how much money they're spending. Look at the big names on their roster, and they got the same record as the White Sox. 0-7 on the road. Oh, my God. And then they just lost another heartbreaker yesterday to a choked away 9th inning lead there. So just really tough right now for the Braves, but they're looking for something to get going here, and they got another shot here against Philly coming up here today. In the Central, we got the Cubs on top, 9-6 right now, kind of sleepy. The Cubs playing so well. People aren't really talking about it, but I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing from Chicago. The Brewers 7-5, the Cardinals at 5-7, the Pirates at 5-8, and the Reds at 5-8. I don't think any of these records really are too surprising outside of the Cubs. The Brewers do look really good. I will give them that, even though they're in second place. Do not sleep on that team. To my somewhat surprise, they do look decent. I don't think they can maintain it, but at the same time, they look decent. Pirates look okay right now, 5-8. Couple tough losses in that first 6-game stretch for them, 1-run losses, but they're turning things around a little bit. They're back at home in Pittsburgh. Things are looking a little bit better. And finally, the Reds there on bottom. Right there with Pirates, 5-8. Reds look decent. I'm not writing them off yet. Finally, in the West, we got the Padres 10-3 right now. The Dodgers 10-4 right now. Giants sitting in second place there, 9-3, half a game back. The Giants right now, man, 8-2 over their last 10 games. So the hottest team technically in the division right now. The D-backs are 7-6 and they're in fourth place in this division. They would be up amongst most top of other divisions if they were in other divisions. But you got the Padres and the Dodgers and the Giants. Good luck, brother. And shocker, the Rockies, 2-9. So the White Sox, Rockies, and Braves are the bottom three teams in baseball right now. Just so weird to see the Braves amongst those three teams. But it is what it is. Now, let's go ahead and have some fun because we're here to give you guys winners. This show's called Pickin' Winners, and that's exactly what we do over here. So make sure to check out sportsforummedia.com as well, all you sports bettors. On the bottom of the screen there, winnable.com/blitzbetting. Got you guys covered on all stuff like that. And a little secret for you, go ahead and use code VALUE, VALUE, code VALUE. Get 50% off a 1 week or a 1 month VIP package for all of our sports bets, but you got to do it in the 72 hours of this show. So you got 72 hours to use code VALUE at checkout, winnable.com/blitzbetting. Come try us out, man. We give winners over here. And if you don't profit, the next week or the next month is free. So nothing to lose. Now, hopping on in here to the games. We're going to go ahead and keep the bullpen stats pulled up here so we can kind of check over that before we pull the trigger on bets. But I'm going to give you guys our winner/best bet for each game, as well as over-under prediction as well. Now, I do want to throw out there, these are predictions. These are not official bets, but it's stuff that I'm going to say is probably worth a bet. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump in here. The first game on the board, we got the White Sox taking on the Guardians in that one, going down in Cleveland. Now you got Jonathan Cannon taking the mound for the White Sox, Gavin Williams taking the mound for the Guardians. White Sox right now, man, they've lost both games in this series so far by 1 run. I want to say 1-0 and then 3-2 last night. So they're right there, man, but they just can't quite get over the hump. Jonathan Cannon coming in 3.12 ERA over 8.2 innings of work. It's decent for a White Sox pitcher. Let me put it that way. He's good, especially for a White Sox guy, but at the same time, the second-year guy for Chicago, he's decent. But can he get hit in this game? He most definitely can. This is a team that can hit when things are going right for them in Cleveland. Now, on the other side, you got Gavin Williams right now. Gavin Williams is one of those guys that I do tend to like, but I don't love him. He has hit and miss games. Usually not a guy that's going to give you a gem, give you a scoreless 6-7 innings. Maybe not. Maybe against Chicago, he could. But he's also not the guy that's going to get, Luis Castillo'd and just get 5-6 home runs given up on him and stuff like that. That's not really going to happen here either. So Gavin and Jonathan Cannon, to me, are very much in the same body of work. I do feel that he's going to be relatively comparative with Jonathan Cannon here. Now, let's talk about the actual pick in this game, because when you look at it, everything, you got relatively similar starting pitchers. You got 1-run games, both games so far. You got the Guardians looking to go ahead and clean up the series sweep here. But take a really quick look here at these bullpen numbers because they are important. Now, once again, we're looking for the Guardians and the White Sox here. So there you go. You got the White Sox right now. The key stats that we're going to look at here, 4.1 team ERA right now, 1.45 on the whip there. But let's go ahead and look at saves, because look at this, man. They haven't saved a game yet. So that's a little bit concerning. I don't have a lot of faith in the White Sox bullpen. And genuinely, like I said, I think the starting pitching is relatively similar. You go all the way down here and look who you got at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the Cleveland Guardians bullpen, 2.61 ERA for them, 2 saves on the year so far, and a 1.35 whip. Let me remind you, if you do not know, you want this to be the lowest number possible. So of all of them on the screen right now, the best bullpen whip right now, 0.8 is going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks, even though the best ERA goes to the San Diego Padres. So just something to keep in mind there. But once again, with all of that said, what are we going to do here? Well, the odds here, we got the Guardians minus 230 on the money line. The White Sox plus 200 on the money line. I can't lie to you guys. As much as I think it's hard to take the White Sox here at minus 230, minus 240, depending where you're looking, there's no value on Cleveland here in this game. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rock with the trend here. We're going to take the White Sox plus the 1.5 runs in this game. If Cleveland's up by 1 run going into the bottom of the 9th, the game is over. And if it's not the case, and let's say the White Sox have the lead and all of a sudden the Guardians come back and win, they probably win by 1 run anyway. The White Sox haven't saved any games, blah, 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 blah. The White Sox haven't got a win on the road yet. All streaks come to an end. I like the White Sox here plus the 1.5 runs. It's going to come down to, can Jonathan Cannon keep him in there for a solid 6 innings? And can the White Sox do enough to at least make this thing winnable? Shout out winnable by the time it's over. So now we're going to go White Sox plus 1.5 there for our winner / spread pick. And then over under in this game is at 7.5. You got 45% of the money coming in on the over 7.5 runs. I don't blame anybody. Oh, by the way, on the spread, 20% of people are taking the White Sox to cover. 80% of people are taking the Guardians to cover. That's great news for us. Over under 7.5. I'm actually going to go with the under here. 1-0 in the first game, 3-2 in the second game. Really, Jonathan Cannon and Williams are relatively both decent pitchers here. Neither of these bats at the moment are very concerning. I think the under 7.5 is a good move here. I think 3-2, 4-3, that makes a lot of sense here. So we're going to go White Sox plus 1.5. And for our second play, we're going to go with the under 7.5 runs in this game. Good luck to everybody in game number 1. The first game of the day is going down at 1:10 Eastern. So go ahead and get your bets in for that one. Then we're looking on over at game number 2. We got the Angels taking on the Rays in this one. And man, oh man, like I mentioned, I like what I'm seeing right now from the Angels. But the Rays in their own right, they look okay. The Angels come into this game with Jose Soriano on the mound on the road, plus 120 on the money line for LA. Zach Little taking the mound for the Rays, minus 140 on the money line. 63% of the bets are on the Rays to win this game. 42% of the spread bets are on the Rays to win by 2 or more runs, and 58% of the money is on the under 8 runs in this game. So with all that, taking a quick look here at the two teams, we're not going to go too deep into here. I'm going to try to give you guys what I believe is a bit of the more, how do I say this, important information, if you would. So with that said, sorry, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of one of these stats that I'm not a fan of it here. All right, so with that said, guys, Logan O'Hoppe right now is leading stats-wise offensively for the Angels. He's looking really good at the plate. I like what the Angels are doing with their bats. They're getting on base much better than they did last year. They're actually clean-up hitting really, really well. They're seeing the balls better. They're being more patient. They're leaking out, opposing starting pitchers' arms. They're just being a more complete at the plate team right now, and I really like what I'm seeing. Now, on the other side, there is that little bit of the Rays where you don't know what you're going to get. Tampa Bay, one of those teams, man, where they either score 1 or 0 runs or they kind of take off on you and they score 6 or 7 runs. But more often than not, they go on the low end of those two outcome possibilities. So I'm not buying in right now on the Tampa Bay Rays. People like Tampa. Just for the past few seasons, I haven't been a fan. They didn't do much in the offseason to really make me think differently. Let's take a look here, though, at Zach Little, because Zach Little right now, the right-hander, 0-2 on the season, a 4.15 ERA for him right now. But the one thing I'll give him is I think he looks, to me, watching him, he looks better than that. 0-2, 4.15 ERA. He looks a little better than that, but the proof is in the pudding. And the pudding says, bro is struggling right now. And I do think he is. And I do think he's up against it right now, against relatively hot Los Angeles bats. On the other side for Jose Soriano, though, 26-year-old pitcher, 3.42 ERA, little bit better right now, striking out 97 batters over 113 innings there last year. Now, with that said, after spending 7 scoreless innings against the White Sox, he was rocked for 5 earned runs. So there's something here to keep in mind about Soriano, but I like him a little bit better. His ERA is a little bit better. He does give up a few homers here and there, but I'm not really concerned about the Rays being a massive home run team. They might get 1 home run on the day against him, but really nothing more than that. I think he's going to keep the ball relatively in play. A lot of ground outs, should be relatively easy. Where I'm surprised in this game, with that said, is the money line. Why are the Angels plus 120? It doesn't really make a lot of sense here, other than people, every show I watch, people are waiting for the regression and all these different things. And, the Angels can't maintain it and just whatever. It's all talk. It doesn't matter. There's no facts to it for me right now. I don't know why 30% of people think the Angels are going to win. I don't know why they're plus 120 on the money line. I've looked through this. I've looked through the batting orders. Yes, you could argue they're getting a bit tired, but I don't believe in the Rays, man. So with that said, taking one more quick look here, as we have to do in the bullpens, just to check our boxes, if you would, the Angels and the Rays. So going on down here, you do have the Rays a better bullpen right now, 3.48 ERA for them, 2 saves on the year, and a .98 whip. Definitely the best part of that team right now is what's going on in the bullpen. Now, the same cannot be said for the LA Angels here, 5.65, holy Lord, ERA there. 4 saves, however, on the year, and a 1.78 whip, almost double the whip here in bad regards to what's going on there. Sorry, 1.72 whip, 5 saves on the year for them. I think it's funny, honestly, that they're 7-4 and they got 5 saves right now from the bullpen, and yet the bullpen just looks so bad. It's pretty crazy, but it's a testament to how good the bats are. So what we're going to do in this game is we're going to outsmart the system, as we like to do over here at the Sports Forum, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to go with the first 5 innings for the Los Angeles Angels. Now, plus 120 on the real money line, plus 110 for the first 5 money line, and we don't have to worry about the bullpens. In my opinion, we get the better starting pitcher in Soriano over Zach Little. We avoid the 3rd worst bullpen in baseball, and we get to see if the Angels can go ahead and at least keep it close or tied for the first 5 innings. If it's tied, we get our money back. And if they're winning, we cash in. It's still plus money. I don't agree with the Rays being minus money. I will say, if the Rays were plus 110, I might look at them, but they're not. They're laying money the other way, and I just don't agree with it. So we're going to go Angels, first 5 money line, and then the over-under, like I said, 8 runs, 58% of the money is on the under in this game. And as much as I really don't want to do it, we're going to go with the first 5 innings under 4.5 runs. And that's just because I do think that the Angels tend to get to bullpens. I don't trust the Angels bullpen. And I do think, once again, Soriano and Little are good enough. So one of them gives up 2, maybe one of them gives up 1, 3 or 4 runs in the first 5. That makes sense to me. Unless the 5th inning is where things get blown out of the water. It could happen, but I feel pretty good about it. Go ahead and take the under 8 runs with the Angels. First 5 money line. Good luck to all of you guys in that one. Then we got the Twins taking on the Royals, and I've really enjoyed this series here so far. I've been watching this one really intently. We've been taking the heck out of the Royals the past few days at home to get things done, and they just keep winning. I really like the Kansas City Royals right now. Now, let's take a look here at this actual matchup. Take a look at the odds in this game. We got the Twins coming in with Bailey Ober on the road, plus 100 on the money line. So pretty close, but they are dogs. Michael Wacha taking the mound here for Kansas City, minus 120 on the money line. Over-under in this game coming in at 8 to 8.5 runs, depends where you're looking. You can get the 8 on the under for for plus money, or you can get the under 8.5 for about minus 115. So just depends which way you're going to play this one. But with all that said, Ober and Waka, what do you do here? Well, let me just go ahead and say, I like Bailey Ober. I don't love him. He's a decent pitcher. He gets things done when he's needed, but he does struggle more on the road. He hasn't really had much bat help from the Minnesota Twins really at all. The Minnesota Twins look terrible. He's the kind of dude that could hold the opposing side to 1 run for 5 innings, and if you take his team first 5, they're going to lose 1-0. Like, they don't do anything from the batting department. So will the Twins find success against Michael Wacha? They could, but I don't think that they will. I really like Michael Wacha in this game. He does really good at preventing bad scenarios. He keeps guys off the bases quite often. If there's one guy on base, he doesn't get too flustered about it. He's really fine. Doesn't try to do anything crazy. Doesn't try to be the hero. Doesn't go for a lot of pickoffs. He just handles business. I like Michael Wacha a lot. I think he's one of the more slept-on pitchers on this pitching staff. But with that said, you take a look here at the bullpens in this game, and one thing that really stands out about these two teams, go ahead and take a look. We'll start at the bottom here with the best bullpen in baseball. Once again, Royals and Twins. Well, the Twins are the 5th best bullpen in baseball, 2.37 ERA, no saves on the year right now for them, 1.09 in the whip category. Now let's go ahead and go for a little scrolly scroll. Not too far back, you find the Kansas City Royals. You can compare the numbers though. 3.56, 2.37, over an extra run on average is allowed by Kansas City here. They do have 4 saves. When they have the lead, they don't tend to let it go, and a 1.21 whip for these guys right now in the bullpen. So neither bullpen is really bad in this game. If anything, they're both on the good side here, but there's a clear advantage for the Minnesota Twins bullpen, and I think it's something you have to consider here, because to me, the real question is, when the bullpens come in, will Kansas City be winning the game already? That's the big question, because if they're not, and they have a worse bullpen that gives up a little over an extra run per game than the Twins bullpen does, that could be a problem. You can't be down 2 runs and then bring in the worst, the least good bullpen. It doesn't usually work in your favor if you do that. So I think it's something to consider here, but I'm not really going to overthink it. The Royals have been absolutely lights out in this series so far, and I don't really think things are going to change here. There is 70% of the money coming in on Kansas City to win. There's also 60% of money coming in on Kansas City minus 1.5 runs in this game, and then 55% of the money is on the under 8.5 in this game. I'll tell you what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to go with the under 8.5 runs. I think that's probably my favorite bet in this game, just because I actually relatively like both starters. I do trust both these bullpens. You got one top 5 bullpen and another bullpen that's right there, right on the top 10 line. So I really do think that the under is a good move here. So that's my favorite bet. My second favorite bet is probably the Twins plus 1.5 runs in this game, just because they're playing on the road. They get that 1-run buffer in the 9th inning. Their bullpen has been a little bit better. They can close the gap a little bit. But ultimately, I do still lean Kansas City to win this baseball game. This is one of the tougher games, in my opinion, to call today. So if it was me and I wanted to get in one bet on each of these games, I'd probably rock with the under 8.5, or maybe you take the plus 1.5 for the Twins and you go ahead and you parlay piece it with one of these other bets. But me personally, I like the under in this game, under 8.5. Good luck to you guys in Twins versus Royals. Now, moving on through here, we're going to go ahead and speed things up here. I'm going to go ahead and kind of zoom through here. I only got about 5 minutes for you guys. So with that said, we got the Rockies taking on the Brewers. We got the Brewers getting 85% of the bets to win this game. 72% of people taking the Brewers in Colorado to win by 2 or more runs. This one's going down at Coors Field. So we're going to see a double-digit total here, 10.5 runs on this total in this game. Ryan Feltner taking the mound for the Rockies. Quinn Priester taking the mound here for the Brewers. Priester, not one of the known names, but wait, he soon will be. I think Priester's a very, very good arm. Kid's got a lot of promise. I do like Quinn Priester, and I do think that he makes things really tough on a Rockies team that's already really struggling to hit the baseball. So I don't think Quinn has too much to worry about here. Now, so far, a 4.71 ERA, 1.41 whip for him pretty much in his majors time, if you would. I'm not too concerned about it. I do like Ryan Feltner, though, on the other side. Ryan Feltner has not started this year very good, but he's a kid that I was very, very high on in the second half of last season, made us a lot of money, and I'm not turning my back on him yet like everybody else seems to be doing. I like Feltner. He's 0-0 so far this year, 3.6 ERA, 1.4 whip. It ain't great, but it ain't bad. So I like Feltner. He's got to be careful with the walks in this game, though. He will get punished by Milwaukee if he's not careful. All that said, look, man, I think you either got to go Colorado and a flyer here at plus 105. Actually, I like the Rockies first 5 money line. I'd go Rockies first 5 here. It's plus 100, plus 105, depending where you're looking. I think Feltner can keep them in it here, but the Rockies are the number 1 worst bullpen in all of baseball, and the Brewers are halfway decent. So I'm going to go ahead and say Rockies first 5 money line is my pick there. And then I'm going to lean towards the under 10.5, but I won't be surprised if this is a 7-6 game. So my favorite bet here is Rockies first 5. Make sure you get plus money on it. Good luck to you guys in that one. Ryan Feltner keeps the boys alive. Then we got the Blue Jays taking on the Red Sox. The Red Sox got Walker Buehler taking the mound at home. Chris Bassett taking the mound for the Blue Jays. Walker Buehler, it's a great name. It's got a great history, but he's not great this year. On the other side, Chris Bassett is playing very, very well this year. The Blue Jays are on top in the division. They're hitting the ball very, very well. Their pitching staff is light years better than it was last year. Don't overthink this game, folks. The Blue Jays are on the road, and I've been very, very high on the Red Sox so far this year. But this is one of those spots, man, where I like the Blue Jays on the first 5 money line at plus money. And then I like the Red Sox to win the game just because I think the Red Sox have the better bullpen in this game. And according to stats, they do. So I'm going to go ahead and double dip here. I'm going Blue Jays first 5, Red Sox to win the game. Very ballsy to do that, but I like it. All goes wrong, most likely you push. So not a big deal there. And then over under 8.5 in this game. Very interesting. Over under is 9. I'm going to go ahead and lean towards the under here, but it's dangerous because 2 teams that can hit the baseball. So a lot going on in this game right here. The second toughest game, in my opinion, to call, but going to go ahead and try the under 9 runs. Red Sox to win, Blue Jays to cover 1.5, and Blue Jays in the first 5. Good luck to you guys there. And finally, to the most depressing team in baseball right now, the Braves got Spencer, I ain't going to try the last name, Schwellenbacher, on the money line at home, minus 130, 2-9, and they're minus 130 to win a game. Jesus Luzardo taking them out here for Philly. That's why they are the dogs in this game. Look, man, I understand why they're dogs, I guess, if you're just talking about starting pitching, but the Braves bullpen has been atrocious. The Braves starters have been atrocious. The Braves bats are terrible. On the other side, Phillies bats are Phillies bats. Y'all know what they can do. I don't really get that here. I mean, if I take the Phillies at plus 110 on the money line and they lose a game to the Braves, I'll be honest with you, I don't really give a damn. So that's my advice. Take the Phillies at plus money. It's probably a trap game, and I'm okay with that. But there's just no way I'm laying minus money on this horrendous Atlanta Braves team right now. It's just not going to happen. So with all that said, good luck to you guys on that one. Hope you guys have had fun over here. I'm Riggs from the Sports Forum and Blitz Betting at Blitz Sports Bets on Instagram, at Sports Forum CO there on Twitter and Instagram, sportsforummedia.com, blitzbetting.net, and for those bets, winnable.com/blitzbetting. blitz betting. Enjoy your Thursday. Good luck on all the games. We got games going on all day today. Should be a lot of fun. And we'll see you guys for our Friday show. Until next time, peace.